Hello, my name is Russell Myers. Welcome to Issues Unite. All right, so inflation is continuing to rise, and we all know this. You may have seen your, gasoline reduce a little bit, but then look at your gas bill for your house, and it more than offsets any gains for what you're putting in your vehicle, if you even have a vehicle. So there are claims that the GDP has improved and that we're no longer on a downturn on the GDP. Here's what they don't tell you. That entire turnaround with the GDP is completely reliant on oil and liquefied natural gas, LNG, that is being sold almost exclusively to Europe at a 400% markup over what they were paying last year. And that is only going to continue to increase. You look at oil company, revenue, profit margins, and they are just through the roof, absolutely. As far as the rest of the economy, tech industries, which had been supporting the entire basis for the claims of how well our GDP was doing, well, they're falling. Tech stocks have fallen by massive amounts. Mark Zuckerberg has lost, billions, I think over $100 billion, and his alleged net worth, which when you value a person's net worth on, their stock holdings, that's just an illusion, period. It's an illusion. So the tech industry is in the midst of mass layoffs right now. If you watch YouTube right now, you'll notice that their advertising model has gone from 5 seconds in and you can skip an ad. Instead, you got to sit through the whole thing now. That's because they've changed their model so that you have to sit through the whole thing. Advertising revenue is down. Inventories for retailers is just piled up to the ceiling because they can't sell anything because people don't have the money to buy. So right now it is being reported that in California and some cities, they have seen a 70% increase in homelessness. This isn't from people moving to California to be homeless. People know what the cost of living in California is. They're not moving there to live in a tent. That's just, any claims to that effect are completely ignorant. No. And many of these people that are homeless work for a living. We've been hearing reports for years about people working in the tech industry in California, living in their vehicles or in a tent. But it's getting worse because prices are going up and wages are stagnant or declining. So these working people are winding up homeless. I haven't looked up the numbers nationally, but I'm sure that the numbers for homelessness across the nation are increasing. I will be doing that at some point in the near future. But you can count on it, then homelessness is rising. It's claimed that there are more jobs being created, and yet the amount of people that are filing for unemployment has remained constant, while the number of people on continued unemployment has risen by, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands. I'd have to go back and look at that again, but so if you got continued initial claims and rising numbers of continued claims for unemployment, they're claiming that there are more jobs being created. But I've gone through all of this before, but on how unemployment numbers are falsified. There's something that I haven't mentioned, which is, independent contractors, gig workers, which I've mentioned, but many of these gig jobs that are created are jobs that are like insurance sales or other things that are paid by commission or by case. When I first moved to Alabama, my first job was as an insurance company and caseworker for an insurance company. Well, in a 2-month time span that I attempted this, I was given 2 cases to manage as a caseworker, a case manager. And they only paid me for one of those. They didn't really give me any feedback or critiques on why they didn't pay me for the other one, but I think I got paid maybe $90, something like that, for the one case that I managed. So you've got Uber drivers that you can have all these Uber drivers but if there's nobody going anywhere, then they're not getting paid. There have been many reports that a lot of Uber drivers wind up paying more than they make just to attempt this. Sure, there are some that make some money at it if they're willing to drive 12, 14 hours a day. And even then, you got your expenses. And they wind up making less than minimum wage to do this. And meanwhile, if they have a family, they barely see their family. Even if you're single, once in a while you want to spend time in your own space. You don't want to spend 14 hours a day sitting in the driver's seat. I've had a number of attempted contacts from insurance companies trying to recruit me as an insurance salesperson. What they don't tell you is that you have to go through all of this training and all this stuff to become an insurance agent, to become licensed as an insurance agent, which is going to cost you thousands of dollars and a lot of time, etc. And then you've got to pay for your own telephone, which preferably you want a second telephone line and a website, and what else? Marketing materials, etc. Set aside part of your house to use as a home office. You're probably not going to be able to afford an actual office to start off with. If you ever do, most people that go into insurance sales do not succeed. They try it for a while and then they drop out because they're not making a living at it. The same is true with real estate sales. You spend lots of money and time and effort to become licensed as a real estate agent, and most real estate agents do not make enough money to live on, so they wind up bailing out. multi-level marketing when they're expanding. Mary Kay, Tupperware, what's that vitamin thing? Nutrisystem. I think when they're trying to recruit more people to sell their products, they list these as jobs. And this is not a job. You're trying to sell stuff to your friends and neighbors, and also you're trying to recruit more people to sell under you, and you wind up spending, like my ex-wife tried selling some home decor stuff at one point. This was in the early 80s. I spent the money on marketing materials and products and stuff for stock, etc. And it was a losing proposition. I had to work more hours for her to attempt this, and it lost money. It didn't gain a single penny at all. I don't recall her making any significant sales at all. What is this? So while all of that is going on, the Federal Reserve continues to increase interest rates. So if you want to buy a home or a car, whatever, you're going to be paying more in interest. So in the long term, unless you pay that off very quickly, you're going to be paying a lot more in interest rates. I'm happy that, when I had to get a new vehicle recently, I got it before the major part of the interest rate increase occurred. So my interest rate right now on that vehicle is locked in. I'm very happy for that. But I'm renting a house. I would love to be able to buy a house. I'm 60 years old. I want a place to live permanently. But with interest rates being what they are, and there is a lag on home prices coming down, we're beginning to see a decline in home prices. But so millions of Americans are going to be locked in now for decades, maybe for the rest of their life, renting. Even though they could definitely afford to buy a house, they are told that they can't. You can pay $1,000 a month for rent where you would be paying $600 a month for a mortgage, but you won't qualify for that mortgage. Oh no, you don't make enough money. I make enough money to pay $400 a month more on my rent. So this has an impact of keeping you paying more where you're less able to save money, especially if you make $40,000 a year or less, which most Americans make $30,000 a year or less. More than half of Americans make $30,000 a year or less. And many of those people have families, they have children, etc. And yet they cannot afford to buy a home. And it's going to be less affordable now with interest rates going up. If you look at what has happened in the stock market, it was going up last week. They were expecting the Federal Reserve or the Federal, FOMC, Federal Open Market Committee, to pivot and announce that they were going to start pumping more liquidity into the market. Well, the meeting happened on Monday, and the Federal Reserve said, no, that's not going to happen. No, we're going to stop pumping money into the market because it's artificially inflated, and we're going to continue increasing interest rates to try and bring inflation under control. What they are really doing is attempting to destroy the employment market And, so it's going to get a lot worse. And there is absolutely, no matter what they say, there is absolutely no evidence that increasing interest rates serves in any way to decrease inflation. Inflation is driven by corporate greed. If they're going to be paying more in interest or not being able to take out loans or whatever, then they are just going to keep on increasing prices so that you will be paying for their profit margin, their stock dividends, etc. Like I said, it's going to get worse. I don't have any answers for it at this moment. Please follow my presidential campaign, rmyers2024.com. And because I have a lot of, policies which actually address all of this. So it addresses wages, it addresses inflation, it reins in all of this. But for now, I don't have any suggestions. If you can cut expenses, but most of us have already cut expenses down to the, bone, and there is no place else to cut except food and housing and things and necessities. And we can't cut those anymore. All right, share this video. Talk about these subjects. If you can afford it, please donate whatever you can to help expand this channel and my presidential campaign. I know not many people can afford that right now, but that doesn't mean I'm going to stop. I'm not like other YouTubers that say, if you don't support me, then this channel is going to disappear. No, my channel's not going to disappear. I'm going to keep on working full-time as a nurse and continue this channel. The point is not making a living doing this full-time. It would be nice, but, that's just the way things are right now. We cannot afford to lose independent media anymore. And we can't afford for independent media to keep moving further to the right and adopting neoliberal, mindsets and promoting that. I'm not bucking for a job with MSNBC. Unlike some, so-called independent media, I'm not doing that. Anyway, again, share this video, talk about these subjects, and I will catch you in the next one. I hope you have a good day.